Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. I am your host, media member and beat writer for Thunder on SI, Rylan Stiles. Follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. Joined today, as always, by Derek Parker as we break down the week that was and the week that will be on our Monday live streams every week, Monday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Central Time, live on YouTube and on your podcast feed afterward. On today's show, we're diving into OKC falling to San Antonio. Are they rivals? What must OKC fix? We're going to preview the week and debut our new segment, One Word. Derek, how you feeling today?
I'm doing good. I'm especially feeling good with all these comments, guys. I promise not to get the big head here, but there were some caveats with this last pick. We'll get into it later with our prediction segment, but I appreciate the commenters.
Yeah, the honey is flowing on you, Goat. They're really praising you. We're going to dive into that as well on our Monday segment of what we got right, what we got wrong. But before we do that, Derek, the Thunder lost to the San Antonio Spurs 111 to 109. Wemby in 20 minutes off the bench goes for 22 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. OKC's second loss of the season, snapping their 16-game winning streak. The first of 3 games this month against San Antonio, which all get crammed into the last 2 weeks. And in this game, OKC shot 24% from beyond the arc. This now means that the Thunder have 4 days off before that Thursday game against the Clippers to tip off a back-to-back to end the week, ending in Minnesota on Friday. Derek, what's your first takeaway from this game?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton. Like, it was a super close postseason level game between 2 really, really good teams. Obviously, the 24 and previously won Thunder. The San Antonio squad, though, we touched on it in Thursday's show, is really scrappy. There's a lot of different ways they can attack you. So many different things from this game. I think Victor Wembanyama just has to be the first takeaway. They do not win that game without him. I know that other players played well. You know, Steph Castle, De'Aaron Fox, Devin Vassell was really good, but Victor Wembanyama was like the most seismic, earth-shattering thing to happen in the basketball game. That first half, he was like a plus 20 in 7 minutes, and he ended up playing a little more in the second half. He's like a truly game-breaking player. We've been super complimentary of him on this live stream, but the way that he halved the basketball court on defense, he's going to be the best rim protector of all time at some point. Like, he's either going to have the most blocks per game. He's just too long, too smart, too high feel. And then offensively, you have to double him. Jalen Williams is a superb defender, one of the best in the entire league. And even he wasn't able to completely shut down Victor Wembanyama. They had to send doubles, which did work at times. He had 5 turnovers, but he just really showed his ceiling, and doing it in a limited game where he was on a minutes restriction and not playing his typical from the starting lineup, first ever game off the bench. Just a incredible performance against a great Thunder team. Obviously a historic Thunder team, but Victor Wembanyama showed his superstar-esque potential.
Yeah, that is the top takeaway to have from this game. And it ties into my takeaway of the Spurs defense can just do things to this offense and to Shai that few other teams can do. And they also can bend the Thunder's defense in ways that other teams can't. And for those reasons, you have Victor, who's a superstar. You have the ability to throw off OKC. They have to be considered, the Spurs do, contenders as well. Because if you canvass the entire rest of the league, Derek, who else can make the Thunder go to plan B, C, D on their regimen? Nobody else can besides the Spurs, Denver, and Houston's defense. Other than that, the Thunder are playing their A game against everybody else and what they prefer to play like. Now, of course, they're going to have off nights against anybody, and I'm not sure they're going to steamroll anybody, but plan A is available to OKC for 48 minutes against every other team but the ones listed. And the ones listed by circumstance now, they have to be considered contenders against this team. With that being said, I think that the Thunder are still favored heavily against all 3 of those teams. And I would pick them to beat all 3 of those teams in a playoff series. But the Spurs do move their name up the list now.
Totally agree. San Antonio was really impressive. I don't know if they're to the point where I would call them a legitimate problem for the Thunder. Like, we've seen this after all of the Thunder major losses. Like, we saw it last year's NBA Cup. You see it sparingly throughout the regular season. I don't know if they're at that point yet. I do think most of what you're talking about, making them go to plan B, is simply about Victor Wembanyama. Like, he is the game-changing aspect. Like, they're having to go to plan B because he is so long. He is so good offensively with shorter players on him. Like, that's the reason they're going to plan B. Now, I think the Thunder's plan B is going to work against the San Antonio team most of the time. Like, we talk about this like it was some seismic loss. They lost by 2.
Yeah.
Some guys didn't hit shots. They didn't shoot well. Like, it was an off night mixed with a decent little on night from San Antonio. So I don't want to overreact, but in the same breath, the Spurs were really, really impressive. My second takeaway
Well,
is that
real quick though, on
Yeah.
still the same topic, I think that there's an annoying part of this discourse on all sides of like Thunder fans don't want to give an inch, like, oh, the Thunder are so much better. I mean, listen, the Thunder needing to go to plan B is not some bad thing. It's not like the
Right.
sky is falling. It's not like their plan B isn't any good. They're still a great team. They're
Yeah.
still going to be able to beat the Spurs team. I would still pick them to beat the Spurs and to get their way back to the finals and to win the championship this year. That's what I still believe. But the Spurs are also good, and the Spurs can also make life harder on OKC than any other team in the league. And so, besides Denver, and you know, you can add Houston there as well, as those trio can make life harder on OKC. Making life harder on OKC is not some disparaging statement against the Thunder. And I think the Thunder fans take it that way, and I think that they're hypersensitive because of the other national discourse out there. Every time the Thunder lose, you know, they're not any good, and you know, it's over and everything else, and they got exposed. So I think that it all kind of compounds upon itself. The reality of the matter is the Thunder are the best team in the league far and away. The Thunder are the favorites to win the championship far and away. The Thunder have the talent and the depth and the experience that they should win the championship this year far and away. But there are good teams out there, and San Antonio with Wemby is one of them.
100%. Couldn't agree more. And the especially fun part is we get to see 2 more of these in the next few weeks.
And it's going to be so fun. And plan B for OKC, by the way, would have been able to work if they just had a normal shooting night, and it still would have worked, and it still would have got them the win, and it still would have been plan B. Like, let's just say that 2 of those Wiggins threes fall and the Thunder win this game. Well, guess what? All these points would still be true, that they did make life harder on Shai than any other team could, that they did make life harder on this historically great Thunder defense than any other team could. Those would all still be true. The Thunder would just be 25-1 right now instead of 24-2. But that doesn't wipe away those facts.
Yep, 100%. And in that same breath, we talk about all these different things that could have went more the Thunder's way. I think chemistry is one. This was the first time all season that they ran out their preferred starting 5. And that sounds like a great thing. Like, this is the starting 5 that went and won an NBA championship. They played together a little bit last year, but there's been a lot of added chemistry and continuity. Cason Wallace had been really, really finding his groove in that starting lineup. Other guys had really been finding their groove. And then to insert Isaiah Hartenstein, who rightfully starts, like, phenomenal player. One of the players that we've talked about on here has been driving winning impact for the Thunder. It's still going to take a little bit of time to really get that back up to speed. The double big stuff, we haven't seen it in a few weeks. Jalen Williams and Isaiah Hartenstein had not played a game together this year. Like, the starting 5 for the first time all season sounds great. Coming into the game, it was like, oh, they're finally healthy. But kind of the grayer area of that is that these guys haven't played together as a 5-man unit in a long, long time. So I think that played into some of it. Just another kind of one of those things where it's like, sure, the shooting night, or they could have defended a little better, or Shai couldn't have turned the ball over. It's just one of those kind of things that compounded and ended up with the Thunder loss. And again, a close loss, 2 points.
Yeah, very close loss. And my other takeaway is that OKC is still the streaky shooting team that we called them. And it works both ways, right? When this team was the worst 3-point shooting team in the NBA, and Thunder fans even tried to freak out. Like, this was no national story. It was really just Thunder fans like, oh my gosh, you know, they're shooting so poorly. And we were on this show saying, guys, listen, they started out terrible last year from 3-2, and they ended up 6th best in the NBA in the regular season, 3-point percentage wise. And they're going to bounce back. And they have bounced back. Entering Saturday, they're the 5th best team 3-point percentage wise in the entire NBA. They made that bounce back as streaky shooters. The issue here is they are still a streaky shooting bunch. They have a lot of guys who are capable of hitting threes. They don't have a lot of guys who, you know, beyond a shadow of a doubt is going to make their threes that are wide open. And that difference really hurt them in this game. I mean, it was a 2-point loss, and they missed a lot of good looks early in this game that could have gone from a 16-point lead to trying to bury the Spurs. And they just didn't hit them. And you know, they are going to have to maneuver through that with this current roster.
Yeah, the three-point shooting to me in the first half, it wasn't about shot quality. Like I think they were generating good looks, they were just missing. That can be dealt with. In the second half, there was a comment, this was like the 2025 playoff Thunder. That's very much true in the sense that things kind of tightened up. The shot quality wasn't great. They weren't breaking down that first line of defense, much like we saw in last year's postseason. That happened. Things kind of got murky and muddy, and the offensive just wasn't generating quality looks late in this game. And I think the silver lining in my last point here is that while the loss probably hurts from a Thunder perspective, like, no, they didn't go in the cup. Yes, you got beat by a potential contender on like the national stage. What a great thing to have this information in December, opposed to, game one of the first round or game one of the second round or of the finals, like we saw last year, where the Thunder ended up kind of losing the rope there. But I think the information you get from a game like this is so valuable. Like somewhere Mark Daigneault is not happy that they lost by any stretch, but so glad that they have, hey, we still need to get better about generating quality looks in these games, or Shai can still find different avenues to carve through defenses, like in really tight postseason level games like this. Like you want this now in December. Does the NBA Cup stage matter? Yes, it does. But you want this now, and you want to be able to even use it in the next few weeks against the Spurs. So again, silver lining. I'm not going to sit here and say that the loss is like a great thing, but there is a silver lining in the sense of we know more about this Thunder team than we did. And I think that's important considering they want to vie for the NBA championship and not the NBA Cup championship.
And another silver lining is just you get 4 days off now to regroup and to dissect this game, dissect this information. And we've seen this team bounce back. We've seen this team not go on losing streaks, for this really core's iteration of this team. They have not gone on losing streaks. They're aiming at their third straight number one seed in the West. And also, we've seen them bounce back against matchups like this. Like that Cleveland game, that loss in Cleveland last year was a great basketball game, and somebody had to lose, and it was the Thunder who lost it. Then the rematch without anyone in the front court and Brendan Carlson stepping up, you got a big win at home and a blowout win at home against Cleveland. You're going to have two more shots now to bounce back. Once in San Antonio, Christmas Eve, once in OKC on Christmas Day. Let's see how they handle that. That's another silver lining there. The bottom line for me is, and this arguably should have been the first takeaway period, you need more from your big three. We can talk about the shooting. We can talk about the shot quality. We can talk about the defense of Wemby. It was a 2-point loss, and Jada and Chet just didn't show up to their level and didn't show up to the level of winning. And if you had more from Jada and Chet in a 2-point game, you would have obviously had more success. And it is unfair, but it's reality. It's life in the NBA. It's a star-driven league, and you need more from Jada and Chet than the inefficient 17 points that they gave you. Jada gave you 17 points on 16 shots, and Chet gave you 17 points on 37% shooting. Like, you just needed more from those guys. And Chet, of course, only made 3 shots from the floor all night, and he got 12 free throws and made 10 of them. So, you needed more from them, and you didn't get more from them. And that's kind of the bottom line of how this game played out.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like some demoralizing, crazy bad performance from any of them. I think you can throw Shai in there too. Again, he's been playmaking at an unbelievable rate this year, and that didn't happen. Yeah, that didn't happen against San Antonio. And he even settled a little bit like we saw last year in the postseason, unlike he's done earlier this year, where he's been really, really aggressive or really only settling for those threes when it is a really, really clean look and he can generate nothing else. So I think all three could have been better. I think all three probably said that after the game and would tell you that now, that they could have been better. So yeah, it's just kind of a survive and advance mentality there.
Now let's dive into where we were right, where we were wrong from this past week. Let's start with where we were wrong. We both picked the Lakers to advance to Saturday's game. That did not happen. Derek said Shai would play in 2 fourth quarters. He only played in 1. And then I was wrong for picking a 2-0 week for OKC. They went 1-1. Where we were right, I did point out on the preview show that the Thunder's 3-point variance would be the biggest difference in the game. It's clearly a big talking point. It was our biggest takeaway this week. You did say that they would try dub on Wemby. Nailed it. You also did say, Derek, that they'd go 1-1. They did go 1-1. And let's just leave it at that. No, let's just leave it at that.
No.
1-1.
I'm going to hold myself accountable here. I said they would lose to the Lakers. And then on the Thursday show, I said they would beat the Spurs. So while I have accurately predicted the record, it didn't end up like I thought it would at all. So I'm taking half partial credit for this one. I can't in good faith just see this as an absolute win.
We both predicted that the Knicks would go to the East representative for the NBA Cup championship. They did. I predicted that if the Thunder lost, it'd be a massive storyline of like the Spurs and Lakers being true contenders and being a kryptonite for OKC and having it be blown out of proportion. It has been blown out of proportion. I did predict that Shai would only play 1/4 quarter. They dominated the Suns to make that happen. I also predicted that the NBA Cup would get praise for being a fun event. I think that you can't get any bigger endorsement of the NBA Cup than one of your young superstars and Wemby calling it a moment. Like this was a moment for this team. And I know that in the modern era, like people are gonna make fun of anything that these guys say, but the fact that he felt like this was a bigger game, this guy's never played in the playoffs, like, and he felt like this was a bigger game that he's ever played in. This was a moment. Like it just shows you how much that these guys care about the NBA Cup. And the fact that you can compare Saturday's game to a playoff setting by the way the game flowed, it's a big win. Like you're getting playoff level basketball in December. And folks, the modern NBA has not seen that in the regular season. So I think that the storyline is right, that the NBA Cup is working in that regard. And then we both predicted that the Thunder would match the Warriors going 24-1. They did that with that win over the Suns. So overall, good week by us predicting what was going to happen.
Yeah, not bad. And especially with the volatility of the cup. I mean, we touched on it. Everyone thought the Lakers were making it. Everyone thought other teams were going to win. And it has ended up so differently than everyone thought. So all things considered, not a bad week from us too, I don't think.
Let's see if we can have that much success for this coming week. Let's preview what's ahead for OKC. Let's whip around to the NBA with our new word segment and more. We're back on the Lockdown Thunder podcast, live podcast edition with Derek Parker every Monday and Thursday at 2 p.m. live on the Lockdown Thunder YouTube channel and uploaded to the podcast feeds after the fact. Derek, we have another week ahead of us of Thunder basketball. Due to the loss Saturday, the Thunder have 4 days off, which means they only play in 2 games this week. And because they preemptively moved this Clippers game from Wednesday to Thursday to prepare in case they made the NBA Cup championship, they went from fearing a back-to-back on a Tuesday, Wednesday to not having to worry about it to now having a back-to-back. They play the Clippers at home Thursday, and then they travel to Minnesota to play the Timberwolves on the road on Friday on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime just owns the Thunder at this point. It feels like every game's been on there this month, and so that'll be a lot of fun to see another national televised game. Only 2 games to pick from, Derek, so I think that this is pretty easy. What's the best game of the week?
I think it's going to be Timberwolves. I don't know if it's going to be a necessarily close game, as I will predict later, but I think you got to go Timberwolves over the Clippers at this point. I know there's like some Thunder Clippers like narratives hanging over, but I don't think that's going to be a necessarily close game for whatever reason. I think the Thunder have more in their gas tank. I think they're more talented. I think they have a better scheme, better players. So I'm going to go Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm going Minnesota as well. I mean, Minnesota has Ant versus Shai on their side. It's a road game away from the Paycom Center. It's the second night of a back-to-back. There's all these storylines to watch for. Minnesota, dropped one right before Thanksgiving in the Paycom Center with some silly decisions by Chris Finch, let's say. And it's like, how did the Timberwolves respond to that? And the Timberwolves, as we're going to touch on later, they're just the more interesting of these 2 teams because I don't think that we fully understand who they are at this point in the season, which means by process of elimination, our most boring game of the week is the Clippers. But there's only 2 to pick from, so it has to be the Clippers. And I think that there's a chance that the Thunder just roll over the Clippers and blow them out, and it becomes a traditional boring game. But to a large degree, calling it boring is because there's only 2 games. Because we know now Shai can no longer dodge this. It's a big game when Shai plays the Clippers, as he admitted on Netflix. So we know it's a big game.
Yeah, 100%. And again, the Clippers have some stuff they could throw at the Thunder. Like James Harden is amid a good year. Kawhi Leonard is at least playing basketball games again. But their defense is just abysmal. It's the reason they're the 5th worst team in the league right now. And I don't see it giving this Thunder team any issues. So yeah, I would have it as the most boring game by process of elimination and just in general.
I agree with you there. Best storyline this week, I'm going to go with the Timberwolves, Ant versus Shai, but also, who are the Timberwolves? We've seen them have a good win. We've seen them have bad losses. We've seen them grow leads, blow leads, and then nearly escape. We've seen them outright blow games and lose them. There's just been some inconsistencies with Minnesota in the regular season, as there has been for now 2 years for Minnesota in the regular season. they obviously should be up for this game at home against OKC on national television. I think that this will be a good barometer test for what Minnesota is.
I agree wholeheartedly, which is why I think if they do need to get up for this game and they need to prove an identity and they need to win at home against the Thunder team that sent them home in the Western Conference Finals last year, if that doesn't happen, I think the narrative is going to be that the Wolves need to upgrade. We've heard about them potentially being buyers on the trade market and wanting to shuffle things around, especially going and getting a point guard or at least a guard who can play alongside Anthony Edwards. I think this is important. Ultimately, I think the Thunder do comfortably beat Minnesota again. So with that being the case, if they win by 10, 12 points, and it just seems very clear that this Minnesota team can't get over this Thunder hurdle, they haven't gotten drastically better this year. They already lost in 5 games last year. Then the narrative is going to be that they need to go upgrade. And I think that's rightful because as it stands right now, it just doesn't feel like this Timberwolves team can best Oklahoma City. So I think outside players might be the answer.
Our nerdy basketball watch of the week. I'm going to go with Jalen Clark and Terrence Shannon Jr. These are two guys who could and should match up with SGA. And if they have a big night, then it can reel in that storyline that you have of like, okay, we got our guys who can play big minutes against contending teams and be point of attack defenders. If they falter and if Shai just gets loose for 40 points on great efficiency, then it opens up your conversation in a big way. So either way, I think that these will be the pins into like if we are going to have that conversation or not regarding Minnesota.
My nerdy basketball watch, Kobe Sanders of the LA Clippers, 6'8". He's got some guard stuff to him. Interesting player that wouldn't typically have played had the Clippers had like the season everyone thought, but since they're not, he's gotten some burn. 17 points against the Hawks in one of their only wins on the season. He had 10 against the Heat. Just an interesting player. And if we're talking from a nerdy basketball perspective, this is a guy who could pop. He's played well in the games they've actually won. So keep your eye out for Kobe Sanders.
Now let's go with our most interesting opponent. We both have Anthony Edwards. We've seen the dueling shoe commercials jabbing at one another. These are two of the league's premier players. They're both offensive juggernauts. I can't wait to see Ant play and Ant kind of go up against the Thunder defense where he's had a hard time cracking it as a scorer. He's also been a really good playmaker though against this a physical, aggressive, swarming Thunder defense. I just want to see Ant play again against OKC.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on it. He's the biggest superstar in these two matchups. I want to say last game, he did a pretty good job against the Thunder. 31 points, 9 for 19 shooting, 10 3-point attempts. He hit 5 of them. He played really well. I think the Thunder have traditionally done a very good job on Anthony Edwards. He played so well in that last game that now I'm kind of wondering, like, has he not figured the Thunder out? Because I don't think that's how it works. But is he going to be able to replicate this success again? If so, then I think the Timberwolves can stay in this game. If not, if he does kind of fall to Lou Dort giving him trouble, Cason Wallace giving him trouble, things like that, Jalen Williams this time around, like, I don't think it's going to be too close a game. So, yeah, I think Anthony Edwards is certainly the player to watch out for.
Now let's do a record prediction and how many fourth quarters that Shai plays in. I'm going to go 2-0, and Shai plays in 1 fourth quarter. It's the second night of the back-to-back against the Timberwolves. I think Minnesota makes this a game in the fourth quarter the way that the Clippers cannot.
Couldn't agree more. I'm hedging my bets to stay ahead of you in the all-time wins-loss record here. I also think they go 2-0, and I also think Shai plays 1 fourth quarter against the T-Wolves.
And now we end it with what will the national media be talking about regarding this Thunder team at the end of the week. I'm going to go with, listen, folks, it's wash, rinse, repeat. This is the deal here. You can't talk hoops with everybody. The narrative is out on this team. When they win, it's just like, oh, well, they get to foul everybody. They get to play more physically than everybody. They're not actually that good. When they lose, it's like, see, they got exposed. And so whatever happens, they're going to fall back to the same tropes. That's why Lockdown Thunder is so important, that we're just going to tell you like it is whenever it's good and whenever it's bad for OKC. We'll tell you the truth. The national media is just going to tell you the same old song and dance that you're used to hearing about this team. And, let's face it, it is frustrating. It is annoying. I sympathize with you having to fight those battles. But the reality is, you don't have to fight those battles because they're never going to change their mind. Nobody's going to respect this team, and they don't have to. All that has to happen is that they have to go out there and play basketball, win games, and keep winning championships. And so the narratives will be the same. The storylines will be the same. Just try your best to ignore it and move on, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter that everybody called them too young last year. It didn't matter that everybody said Shai would falter in the playoffs without his whistle. It didn't matter that everyone said that this team wasn't actually that good last year. They won the championship. So it's not going to matter this year. Let them talk, but that's going to be the talking points for this team really the rest of the way.
I agree. And also just to piggyback off that, it's not going to change in the next few years. Every single good team, every single historic team has dealt with this. Like, this isn't exclusive to the Oklahoma City Thunder or its fans. Like, this is just how it is when you're at the top of your game. And a lot of these players are, and this team is at 24-2. They fall into a measly 76 win pace. So yeah, I think that's just kind of how it is for historically great teams like this. My storyline prediction, and again, these are predictions. These are not what I expect or want the storyline to be, but I think the prediction could be that the Thunder need to mix up the starting lineup. I talked about earlier in the episode how the chemistry and continuity is still going to be growing with this five. Like, in terms of starting fives across the league, even though this five won a championship, they have not played that much basketball together. Like, Chet Holmgren missed a huge stretch last season. Hartenstein has missed games. Lou Dort has missed games. Jalen Williams missed a lot of games this season. The chemistry here is still going to be growing. I think that could show against the Clippers, and I think that could show against the Timberwolves. And I think there could be calls for, oh, hey, put Cason Wallace back in, or, oh, hey, move AC to the front, which hasn't happened yet. I think that could be the storyline. I don't know that it should be. I think you stick with this five. I think you ride it out. Rylan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that it will be a storyline. And I think that, the Thunder, I mean, Mark's already been asked about it today at practice about the starting lineup and OKC being as close to full strength as they've been this season. And Mark said, all I have to say about that is that we've benefited from fluidity and keeping things open. We'll continue to do that and do what we think is best for the team on any given night. So, like, he's left the door open to being fluid with the starting lineup. And I think that they are going to have different matchups that result in different things, just like they changed the starting lineup in game one of the finals, just like they changed the rotation in the Western Conference finals. Like, they started double bigs, and that was the ceremonious starting five, but the rotation patterns did change against Minnesota to go single big more often than not. So they're very fluid, and they're willing to change things, and that will lead to, this being a storyline. Let's move on to Around the NBA coverage, and we're going to have a new segment called One Word. We're going to give you one word on these topics around the NBA. Let's start with Wemby. Derek, what's one word on Wemby?
Yikes. This guy's unbelievable. He is the future face of the league, be that in 2, 5, 10 years, doesn't matter. Future MVP. He was the greatest draft prospect of all time. Just an unbelievable basketball player, and he's got some edge to him. I know Thunder fans are probably feeling a little sore about that right now, given the stare down at Cason and some post-game comments that I don't really think were directed at the Thunder, but just an unbelievable basketball player. Truly a joy to watch him, because we've never seen anything like this. And much like this Thunder run, I just want to relish all the time we get watching Victor Wembanyama, because just what a stellar basketball player.
Yeah, my one word is elite. I mean, this guy is in a tier as high as you can get with what he can do impacting the game offensively and defensively. Gilmore is loving watching Wemby play. I think that whenever you look at this Thunder team, what he was able to do against them is awesome. But also, just when you look at Wemby individually, he's going to do that to every team. And he's a legitimate unicorn. He's legitimately someone we've never seen before at his size, at his athleticism, at his ability to just be so destructive defensively and so impactful offensively. That Wemby, the one word's elite, and he's sensational. He really is. So Wemby, man, what do you do with him? I mean, he's the best player you've ever scouted in your draft work.
Yeah, I mean, he can just do absolutely everything. Guys that are 7'4" should not be able to move like this. His defense, not only is he a great tracker of the ball, like Chet Holmgren is the same way. Not only are they lengthy, but they can actually have the coordination to track the ball, swat the ball without fouling as much, things like that. When you couple that with the fact that his wingspan is almost 8 feet long, that he can move his feet faster than most bigs, that he's very fluid, all these different things, it really does create one of the best defenders I think we'll ever see. Like, you saw it against the Thunder. They had to change their game plan based on where he was at on the court. Chet is not used to having a shot blocked. He has like a high rising jumper at 7'1". He had it blocked. That's just not that's not typical. Shai had to adjust several mid-range shots because of this. Like, it's a game-breaking player. The Thunder dealt with it. Not that they can't see success later, but man, in this first matchup of the season, he just affected absolutely everything. He was everywhere.
Yeah, he was everywhere. And you know, these words get thrown around a lot, but he embodies unicorn. He embodies generational. Like you have a keen eye for talent. You're a great draft expert. You have a great draft YouTube channel, Derek Parker, and you're on our OKC Dream Team Patreon draft here with me. I love the draft and I love the prospect evaluation. You're never going to scout another guy like Wemby, who's this size, this athletic, doing this stuff. Like he truly is generational. And I think that sometimes we've kind of conflated generational with like franchise altering. And for some franchises, yes, you still are waiting on your first franchise altering player. So for you, that is generational. But for the actual one individual player, it's not exactly generational. Wemby is generational with what his talent level is and what his athletic skill is. So that's the one word on Wemby: elite and yikes, or yikes for, of course, a good reason.
Yes.
One word on the Cleveland Cavaliers, Derek.
Sad. Not only sad that they're not in the position they want to be in, but sad because I like watching this Cleveland Cavaliers team. I like the core four they've amassed, 5 counting the player they got in last year's trade deadline. So I'm just sad that they're not at the top of the East. I think they're a really fun team. And what are your Cleveland thoughts, Rizzy Rye?
My one word on Cleveland: shell of themselves. This is a team that really is lacking from where they were a year ago. They've dealt with injuries, but they also are not consistent. They also are not shooting the pill as good as they used to. They also are not getting the leap from Evan Mobley that they expect, or even what they were, what he was a year ago. It's just been a mess, and they look like a shell of themselves.
Yeah, I mean, what's the goal here for Cleveland from here on out? Because it feels obvious to me, at least, that capturing the number 1 seed in the East, as they probably wanted to coming into the year, not going to be tenable. I mean, they have lost to the Hornets. They've lost to the Warriors. They've lost to the Trailblazers, the Hawks, the Raptors, the Celtics. Like, where do you go from here? Do you just want to get back to home court with the core that you have? Do you need to shake things up? Like, what's the game plan?
You know, I was talking to Danny Cunningham, Locked On Cavs. I love that show. Go listen to Locked On Cavs. And he put it perfectly, of like, this is a team that shows up on any given night, and they almost have like this complex of like being too good to play, or they just are the opposite of the Thunder, 0-0 mentality and getting up for every game. And it's like, for what reason? You've not earned that ability to just like dismiss the Wizards or dismiss the Hornets or waltz out there and expect to win by 30. You've not earned that ability, especially not this year. And why are you not taking these games more seriously? Why are you being so dismissive of the regular season? And I just don't get it. I don't get it with the Cavs, and they are shell of themselves. One word for the Boston Celtics, Derek.
Typical. This is typical Boston, man. Everyone picked them to get a lottery pick this year. They're going to be down. No Jason Tatum. They've traded off these guys. No. Boston, per usual, basketball city, look it up, playing great basketball. They've got some really fun players. Jaylen Brown should probably be on some MVP lists. I'm not saying he's got to be top 3, but put him at 8 or 9. He's playing phenomenal basketball. So just typical Celtics, man. You count them out, they're still good.
My one word for the Boston Celtics is for real. They're for real. They're for real. I really like this team, and I like who they are. They obviously have flaws, like their front court. I don't envision them being able to make a lot of noise in the playoffs, even if Tatum comes back, because for one, Tatum coming back this season. Here's the thing. I'm going to dive into that, Derek. I'm glad that you interrupted that.
Sorry, that was shocking to me.
Here's the thing. One, getting him back after a torn Achilles this soon, like that during this season, would be a miracle in and of itself, would be a testament to his rehab process in and of itself. But to make noise in the playoffs with this current front court, you not only need Tatum to be playing, you need him to be playing at the peak of his powers. And are you really going to get that from Tatum right away? Now, I want to be clear. I think Tatum will be back to the peak of his powers next season. Like, he'll be awesome. He'll be incredible. Like, I don't think that this Achilles will derail his career by any means, but can he get there right now? Can he get there this season? That's a bit harder to justify. Now, their front court. Here's the issue. I like their pieces. I don't love their pieces. I think that they have some complete negatives in the front court when it comes to playoff basketball. However, they've been so good this year to start the year, and they've positioned themselves so well, and Tatum is progressing so greatly that if they did make a move at the deadline, and not a blockbuster, just a move to get some front court insurance, then I would take them more seriously as making playoff noise. But as far as this home court advantage, seeing if they have themselves with, as far as them winning regular season games, they're for real. They're going to be a top 4 seed in the East.
I think I would push back on them not making playoff noise. I wouldn't rush.
But this
Jason
front
Tatum
court,
back.
you love them?
I don't love them, but I don't love the East either. Like, I look at this Eastern Conference.
Well, I guess what's your definition of noise?
I think they could, if Jason Tatum legitimately came back, was actually healthy, I think they could make the finals. I'm not saying they would make the finals. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Peyton Pritchard. I mean, that's gonna be up there with the other East teams, you know? Like, we're not in love with the Knicks. The Pistons are awesome, super fun story. They're not, I mean, they're young, like Cade Cunningham's awesome, but I don't know, like, they could. Again, I wouldn't pick it to happen. I would probably, if he legitimately came back, was a 25-5-5 guy for the last 10 games of the regular season, I'd probably pick him to either make the Eastern Conference Finals and lose, or the second round and lose. But again, I'm just not in love with this Eastern Conference in general. So I'm not out on the idea of this Celtics team, which traditionally has some guys making the finals.
Yeah, my not making noise is like I could see them winning a round. I don't know that I can see them making the East Finals with the current front court that they have, but let's track that again throughout the year to see how we land on that later on. One word on the Los Angeles Lakers, the purple and gold.
You go first. I've been going first.
My one word on the Los Angeles Lakers, the purple and gold, are cute. I think it's cute. They have Luka. He's incredible. They have LeBron. He's polarizing. They have Austin Reeves. He's all-star caliber. But I don't think that they have enough to dethrone OKC, to dethrone Denver, to dethrone Houston. And I think they'd be in a dogfight with San Antonio. So it's like, man, this is just too tough of a conference. I think that if you put this exact team in the East, we could have different conversations about how they tier off. But in the West, they're a cute little story. But man, come playoff time, this is going to look different.
Yeah, my one word's plastic. I think it looks really, really
much
good.
Like everything in LA, let me tell you.
I think it looks great from far away. Like you can't even tell what it's made of. It's shiny. It looks awesome. And then you get up close and you go, oh, this is plastic. And that's kind of how I feel about their defense, in that you look at the offense. Luka Doncic, legitimately generational. LeBron James, formerly generational, still extremely elite. Austin Reeves having a heck of a season. They have the offensive potential to hang with any team in the league, truly. Even the Thunder, with how good their defense is, like, these guys are that game-changing on the offensive end. But to win in the postseason, you got to have defense. And while that will ratchet up for this Lakers team, you can't play the whole regular season not caring about defense and then just flip that switch when you get to the postseason. We've seen it time and time again. You have to take defense seriously all the time. It is not a switch that you can flip against good teams late in games or for the entirety of games. It's just not possible. So I think the Lakers are close. Like, they're a couple roster moves away from being really, really good, but they're also some like fundamental things away from being like a legitimate championship caliber team, which is okay because this West is really good. I think any of the teams that could win the NBA championship are really, really good. I just don't think LA has won right this second.
Last one word on the NBA MVP award.
I think it would be open. It feels open to me right now. I know that I picked Shai as the winner simply because I thought he would at least continue his production and this Thunder team would win 70 games. Both of those things still on pace, if not a little better. But it doesn't feel like the national narrative, which is really important in the MVP conversations, has really trended that way. And maybe it'll happen as the Thunder near 50, 60, potentially 70 wins. But it also doesn't feel like they're really like pulling for Jokic too hard this year. It kind of feels like one of those years where it's going to be a two-man race for a long time. And then some upstart has like a great March and it's them. And it's just all of a sudden the odds go from, oh, it was these two. And now it's plus or it's minus 1,000 Luka Doncic because he had 55 points per game in 5-game stretch in early April. It just feels open to me right now. Like no one really feels cemented at all.
I'm going to counter you and say my one word for the MVP award, 2-horse race. I think that when you look at this, my one word is 2-horse race because it's Shai and Jokic. Like yes, Luka is plus 300 from our good friends over at FanDuel. Shai is plus 110. Jokic is plus 200. But Cade Cunningham at 4 is plus 7,500. I think that the reason why we haven't definitively talked to the tenor and tone of like just Shai and Jokic is only because their matchup against one another is so far away. It's not until February 1st. Like we're such a long way from getting to see these two guys play. But to me, the reality is Jokic putting up MVP numbers, Shai putting up MVP numbers. The head-to-head's going to matter. Rightfully or wrongfully, the head-to-head will matter. And then it'll matter of like, do the Thunder get 70-plus wins? And that just kind of cements Shai's case. Do they only win 65, 68 games? Like that'll change things as well. But the route is still the same. Of like, I don't think that the Lakers are going to win enough to get this to be Luka's year. Cade is a great player. He's not going to be able to dethrone Shai or Jokic. Wemby's been incredible, and he's at plus 15,000 right now. Perhaps like he could etch his name into this conversation if they sweep the Thunder this month. Like that would change things for Wemby. But for me, it's still going to end up being Shai and Jokic.
Yeah, I guess when you really zoom out, like it's not too far outside the 2-horse race. Like the only name that really came up was Luka Doncic. I don't think it's really going to be anyone else, but it just, I don't follow the national narrative too closely. Like I don't listen to too many other analysts a lot. So it just feels to me right now, and I don't know how you feel, that no one's like leaning a certain way. It doesn't feel like anyone.
We haven't gotten to that point yet. We haven't gotten to the cycle yet of like, oh, this is our MVP conversation. But I think that come the All-Star break, we'll start to get there, and it'll be just Shai and Jokic again.
And if the Thunder keep up their current trend, I mean, if you get to the All-Star break and they're sitting at whatever and whatever, like it's going to be hard to keep Shai out of those conversations.
Yeah. Derek, we end the week. I mean, we end the day the same way that we end every show on our live shows with our technical fouls. My technical foul goes to the officiating crew of Suns Lakers last night.
That's a technical foul.
I mean, this was egregious. They stole the game away from my Suns. Like, what are we doing here? We cannot keep robbing my Suns. LeBron runs over Dylan Brooks, no call. LeBron literally fights an official and just starts berating him and bumping into him and hitting the official on accident, quote unquote accident. But you just can't touch the official. That's the rule. No T. And they end up stealing the game away from my Suns. I didn't like that. That's a technical foul, and the refs were cheating my Suns.
That's a technical foul.
My technical foul of the week goes to the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade updates.
That's a technical foul.
We received news weeks ago that Giannis and his representation are meeting with the Bucks to determine their future. Shortly after, we get that, oh, actually everything's fine. Now we're getting these updates on who wants Giannis, who doesn't want Giannis. I'm tired of it. As a guy who predicted that Giannis would get traded this season in the preseason predictions, I'm over it. Like we don't need these updates. There are no real updates. We didn't need that the representation was even meeting if they were going to pretend like everything was all fine and dandy afterwards. And Giannis is telling the Bucks locker room that, oh, we don't want these distractions. What are we talking about? You don't want the distractions. It seems like that's exactly what you want with this whole ordeal. So I don't need any more info. Just tell me who it is or don't.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's a technical foul.
I mean, it's just so silly. Like, crap or get off the pot, as we would say down in Lawton. Like, are you going to ask for a trade or not? Quit dancing around this. Like, oh, I don't know if he's going to ask for a trade. But we don't know that he's requested a trade, but we do know, hypothetically, if he did request a trade, he'd want a big market. He'd want sunshine. He'd want to win a championship. We already know what he wants. We just don't know if he's going to demand the trade right now. And before the year, it was like, I'm not demanding a trade in the season. We'll address this in the offseason. And since the year began, it's all been about this trade. Dude, request the trade or don't. Like, it's exhausting. And people have been. The problem with this being so exhausting, though, is that people have prematurely pushed Giannis out of Milwaukee, and now that it's actually simmering and he's actually contemplating it, it's like the boy who cried wolf. Like now we're just kind of over it. But dude, you got to make a decision, man. Like, are you going to request a trade this year or not? And if it's no, then let's stop talking about this until the offseason.
Dennis in the comments brings up a great point here.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
He brings up a great point here. And I'm not ready to throw you a tech, but I'm just giving you a warning. If I hear a my before any team but the Philadelphia 76ers in the next calendar year.
Teams.
You've got like 25% of the league.
No, it's my Sixers with a bullet, my Sixers. It's my Wizards. It's my Suns. And sometimes they're my Mavs. Sometimes.
That's so much of the basketball league.
That's cover. 4. I mean, I got a division over here. It's but really though, it is my Sixers. Like my Sixers is not a bit. It's my Sixers. I love my Sixers.
I'm putting a foot down. You have to cut one of these teams right now.
Right now? I have to
right on the spot. You have to cut one of these 4. It's obviously not the Sixers.
It's not the Sixers. The Sixers are not.
You gotta cut ties with one. You only get 3.
I'm cutting my Mavs.
You're not because the Mavs. You can't quit the Mavs.
No. Hear me out now. Because the Suns have Jalen Green, and I feel like it'd be a loophole to cut the Mavs and then still claim the Suns because of Jalen Green. Because when Jalen Green is healthy, I will be victory lapping how great he's playing. So it just makes sense to be able to victory lap them and say that they're my Suns.
Just cut your Wizards, man. You don't need them. They're not winning you your bet. Their prospects
that's true.
Are doing fine. Listen, the Brooklyn Nets are 7-18. That's a comfortable little lead on the 4-20 Washington.
Okay,
Wizards.
Fine. I'll cut my Wizards.
Keeping Mavs, keeping Suns, keeping Sixers. If anybody in the comments,
but I also don't ever say my Mavs though. I don't ever say my Mavs. That's like Lockdown Thunder. That's like Lockdown Thunder lore though. You have to know that I'm a Mavs fan to know that they're my Mavs. Which I just revealed again. So now you every day or so listen to this show have known now.
Clip it.
Clip a chat. But the my bit is like a bit. So the bit teams are my Sixers and they're my Suns. And that's it.
Okay.
I do love my spunky little Wizards though.
I'm telling you right now, if I hear a my before any other teams, you are getting a technical foul, brother.
Okay, that's fine. This is another good technical foul from Coach David.
That's a technical foul.
The Chiefs high V offensive line. Mahomes going down yesterday was brutal. I was staring at that game with a 100-yard stare as if I just saw my comrade get shot in the beaches of Normandy or in Vietnam. It was brutal. And the Chiefs season is over. The Chiefs dynasty is over. They're going to have to reinvent themselves once Mahomes gets healthy. It's just all over. And that means that my football viewing is over because I don't really care about Tennessee's bowl game. I'll watch it. Don't really care, though. So it's just about the NBA, just about the Thunder, just about my Sixers, just about my Suns, and your Brooklyn Nets, hold on, though. Let's not act like you don't have a lot of teams. Your Brooklyn Nets, your Charlotte Hornets, and I think that's it, though. We're at 2 apiece now.
And they're only mine because we made these bets, so.
Yeah, that's true.
I did see the Chris Jones interview after the Chiefs of him like learning in real time that they were eliminated. Is that who it was? Chris Jones?
Yeah.
Chiefs guy. That's like how you know you made it as a journalist, where he's talking and I could tell the guys were going, no, you can't make the playoffs. And he went, no. And they went, yeah, you can't do it. Pretty sweet.
It's over.
Not sweet for the Chiefs, but cool moment. I've never seen that.
It's all over but the crying, Derek. Any parting thoughts for the audience here?
No, I'm glad we could weed out some of your teams. You're getting a little loose with the my stuff.
Yeah, my Sixers, though. The big one is my Sixers, and I cannot wait to see them back in action. Tyrese Maxey, my guy, Tyrese Maxey, in the MVP conversation with MVP odds. We got the Pistons and Celtics going at it tonight. That'll be fun. My Sixers don't play again until Thursday. So that'll be fun. The Thunder play Thursday as well.
Hey, Rockets Nuggets tonight, by the way.
That'll
2
be
and 3 in the
game.
West. Going to be a great game. The last one was a great game. It was an NBA Cup play. The Nuggets are without 2 starters. Rockets obviously without Fred VanVleet, potentially Tari Eason, we don't know yet, but fun game ahead tonight if you're into watching the Thunder's opponents.
Yeah, and that'll be on Peacock, so everyone has access to it if you have Peacock. I cannot wait to watch it. Derek, this has been a lot of fun as always. Go check us out, thunderonsi.com. Check us out, OKC Dream Team Patreon. Check Derek out, Derek-Parker on YouTube. Follow us on social media at DParkOK and at Rylan_Stiles. And until next time, folks, you know the drill by now, don't you? Be good and be good to one another.